Kaleidoscope, a weekly public affairs program brought to you in partnership with the Urban League of Greater Cleveland, Kaleidoscope Magazine, and News Channel 5.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the broadcast today. The Duffy Liturgical Dance Ensemble hosts a fundraiser on November the 21st. Edna Duffy is here with some of her dancers, and we'll hear more about the Duffy Lit Studio and get a preview from the dancers as well. Then Tracy Oliver and Linda Johannick will talk about the annual Leadership Development and Training Institute hosted by the Women of Color Foundation. And later in the broadcast, the Reverend Shane Floyd will explain how his church is helping the community. Good morning. Good to have you with us. This is Kaleidoscope, and I'm Leon Bibb, and so we begin. Beginning with a good friend here, Edna Duffy of the Duffy Liturgical Dance Ensemble. Hey, Edna.
Hi, Leon.
How are things going with you?
Things are going well, thank you.
Yeah. Give us a little bit of background of the Duffy Liturgical Dance Ensemble.
Duffy Liturgical Dance Ensemble is an ensemble that was started to promote, preserve, and perform the American Negro spiritual in its authenticity. We've been doing it for 25 years. We've added to that an educational component. Now we have a studio that teaches dance, vocal music, performing arts, drama, and that sort of thing.
And the liturgical, what's liturgical mean?
Liturgical, when I started, really it was about choreographing dances that could be used in church liturgy. And it was performed mostly by seasoned dancers or dancers who had studied technique and really knew how to dance. Lately, it has gone into what is called a praise dance scene, where people who just feel that they should express themselves that way are also doing it. But liturgical dance was the ancestor of the praise dance movement.
And we're going to see some of that liturgical dancing in just a little bit. We will. Seasons of Change, that's your big event, which is coming up 5 o'clock Sunday, November the 21st. What is Seasons of Change
Seasons of Change is the title that we chose this year, which is our 26th year of existence. We're talking about the changes that you can notice if you study the psychology and philosophy of the American Negro spiritual. We're talking about songs that take us through the seasons of life as well as the seasons of the year.
And when you do this at the Intercontinental Conference Center, Sunday, 5 o'clock, November the 21st, we will see song, we will see dance.
You will see song, you will see dance, you will see theater movement. You will see a showcase of all of the talent that Duffy Lit sponsors. You will see the adult ensemble. I have a wonderful group of women who are middle and upper aged. You'll see the teen ensemble. You'll see the children who are younger than the teens. You'll see the vocal ensemble. You'll see the whole studio.
Tickets still available?
Tickets are available because it is a fundraiser. It's a dinner and a show with a jazz combo afterwards just for listening. The tickets are $75.
And we can, if we call the number on the screen, can we get more information on all of this?
You can get more information on the studio, the classes, the fundraiser, and everything about Duffy Lit.
It's 921-0734. As you see at the bottom of the screen, 216-924. 921-0734, or you can go to duffylit.org, duffylit.org. You can find more information on everything we've been talking about. You've been dancing for some time now. You love this kind of thing. I've worked with you on many projects. What is it about dance and song that you love?
It's cathartic. I don't drink, smoke, or anything like that, so this is how I get high. I get high dancing and singing and studying the things that our ancestors, the wonderful things that were left for us to benefit from.
And we all can get high on this. I mean, this is an emotional,
that's the idea.
An emotional thing.
It is. It's a passion. It's my passion.
Okay. You've got some dancers you brought with you?
And
they're
going
to do a little bit from Seasons of Change?
Yes, they're going to do Rock of My Soul.
Oh, Rock of My Soul. Sunday, 5 o'clock at the Intercontinental Conference Center, and they're going to dance, and you and I are going to step out of the way.
All right.
Okay.
I may be waiting
back to more of Kaleidoscope today. The annual Leadership Development and Training Institute and Awards Luncheon hosted by the Women of Color Foundation takes place November the 18th. Executive Director of the Domestic Violence Center of Greater Cleveland, Linda Johannick, is here, and recipient of this year's Stephanie Tubbs Jones Courage Award, Tracy Bean Oliver of Dominion, East Ohio, is also here to tell us more about this event. Good to have you both with us.
Thank you.
Tracy Oliver, Tracy Bean Oliver, recipient of the Stephanie Tubbs Jones Courage Award. Good to have you with us.
Thank you.
And Linda Johannick, Executive Director of the Domestic Violence Center of Greater Cleveland. Tell me about this event which is taking place, the annual Leadership Institute taking place. What is this?
Well, it's going to be a day-long event of workshops, and you'll be speaking a little bit into some of the workshop content. But, you know, the Women of Color Foundation is dedicated to bringing women together, promoting diversity and inclusion and leadership and mentoring and networking, and nobody does it better than Alex Boone from the Women of Color Foundation. And so Dominion East Ohio has been a proud sponsor of this event as well as some of our other events, and we just encourage women to come out, learn more about coming together, being together, and one of the issues that's going to be discussed is, you know, a year ago, all of our attention, our collective attention, turned to the events of Imperial Avenue and recent events of domestic violence, and so that's going to be the majority of the discussion in the morning, and you'll speak to that.
Yeah, Linda, tell me about this. You're with the Domestic Violence Center of Greater Cleveland. How does what you do fit into what we're doing here on Thursday, November the 18th?
Well, we have worked with the Women of Color Foundation before in their conferences, and one of the requests this year was to really talk about how pervasive domestic violence and sexual assault is, and really what we want to do is get the message out of what are red flags of an abusive relationship, the help that's out there, the services, and really for people to come together to talk about how can we help keep women safe and all victims of domestic violence.
A lot of this has been swept for generations, has been swept under the rug, hasn't it?
Yes.
It is now coming out from underneath the rug. We're talking about it. That's what you need to happen even more so, right?
Absolutely, and that's one of our goals. We just had a Purple Light Nights awareness campaign during October, which is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and our whole goal is to get the issue out there, to really have people start talking about it, ask questions, and even seeking out help, whether it's for themselves or their family member, their friends. And do you know, we have a 24-hour hotline that responds to 18,000 calls a year.
You might as well give that hotline number out while we're talking about it.
It's 216-391-HELP, H-E-L-P, which is 4357. And in the last 3 months, obviously there's been a lot of domestic violence, unfortunately, in the news. The last 3 months, our hotline calls increased by 17%. And we want the word to get out there that there is help. There's help available.
Tracy Oliver, what's going to happen at this event? Give us a thumbnail sketch of some of the high points.
In the morning session is going to be a workshop empowering our community to end violence against women and children, and that's going to be a facilitated conversation. And then there's going to be, the afternoon session is called Transforming Leadership, Identifying and Applying Effective Leadership Strategies for Women of Color. And when we talk about women of color, we're talking about bringing all women together. I love when Alex says that white is a color. Yeah. So we're talking about diversity and inclusion and bringing women together. At lunch, there's going to be an award ceremony, and we have I am going to be the recipient of the Stephanie Tubbs Jones Courage Award.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Also, Louise Gissendanner is going to be honored as the 2010 Professional Woman of the Year, and we have Burnett Williams, who is going to be honored as a 2010 Young Professional Woman of the Year. And so Alex is reaching out into the community to honor women for their leadership, and we're just inviting women, girls, professional women to come out and to be part of a sisterhood for a day.
Let me give a good plug as to where this is going to be and when this is going to be. This is going to be on Thursday, November the 18th. Starts at 8 o'clock in the morning and goes until 4:30 in the afternoon. 8 o'clock in the morning at 1 Cleveland Center. Now, that's a big building there at East 9th and St. Clair. If you get to East 9th Street and St. Clair, you're standing in front of 1 Cleveland Center. It's a silver building.
Used to be the Forum Conference Center.
It used to be, and it has a big point on the top. You'll see it when you get there. Number 1 Cleveland Center. What can people do, Linda Johannick, to come to this now? What needs to happen? Do they need tickets, or what needs to happen?
There is a website for the Women of Color Foundation, and I believe they can go on the website and get more information there and tickets. And I believe Alex Boone also has her information on the list.
Yeah. Womenofcolor.com, as they can come. And also, for folks, there are going to be 50 scholarships available for college students and women who can't afford to pay the $75 to come to this event. And so there's no excuse for anyone that wants to come out and network and be with more with professional women and just to, be a part of this leadership development forum to come on out that day.
Can people make a telephone call to that number, get more information as well?
People can make a telephone call to 391-4300, extension 305.
And you see the numbers at the bottom of the screen. You also see the website at the bottom of the screen, womenofcolorfoundation.com, womenofcolorfoundation.com. Linda, leave us a thought as to why this is important. Take about a few seconds.
Domestic violence knows no boundaries. It crosses all cultures, all races, religions, economic status. And so one of our messages is that everyone is touched by this and that there is help for everyone and that we all need to come together as a community to help each other stay safe. We can't just say it's a family matter, it's a private matter. No, this is something that affects all of the community.
In 20 seconds, you echo those sentiments, don't you?
Absolutely echo those. Absolutely echo those sentiments, and I would invite other companies to, send some of their employees. Dominion East Ohio, again, is a sponsor. Pleased to do that and to get involved with the Women of Color Foundation.
And Tracy Bean Oliver has been with Dominion East Ohio for a long, long time.
26 years.
And thank you for what you do in many areas of this community. You too, Linda Johannick. I know you've got your hands full dealing with domestic violence issues, and at least we're talking about it.
Yes,
and that's
thank
a good thing. Once again, Thursday, November the 18th, starts at 8 o'clock in the morning. Number 1 Cleveland Center. That's at the corner of East 9th Street in St. Clair. This is Kaleidoscope. We appreciate Tracy Oliver being with us and Linda Johannick. Best wishes and have a good program. I know you'll have one. I'll take a break. I'll be right back in a moment. This is Kaleidoscope. I'm Leon Bibb. Back in a moment. Welcome back to more of Kaleidoscope today. The pastor of St. Paul AME Church, the Reverend Shane Floyd, will talk about his work here in Cleveland and how he and his congregation are helping the greater Cleveland community. Good to have you with us, Pastor.
Thank you for having me.
Reverend Shane Floyd of St. Paul AME Church. Where are you located? Where's St. Paul AME Church?
We're actually located on West 130th and Brookside Boulevard.
And how long have you been there as
I've been
pastor?
There about 9 months now.
Are you finding things are going smoothly?
Yes, you might say that this is the honeymoon period.
Yeah.
So things are going along well.
Just a little background. Where are you from?
Actually, I was born and raised in Youngstown, Ohio, and from there I went to school at Central State University, graduated in '94, and from then went into the seminary and actually started pastoring in Dayton, Ohio for a short stint, and went down to Oxford, Ohio, where I attended Miami University and pastored at Bethel AME Church for about 6 years.
You're here to talk a little bit about community outreach. Tell me about the community outreach vision that you and your parishioners have at St. Paul AME Church.
Well, what we have hopes of doing is actually establishing a full-service model ministry where not only do we take into account the spiritual needs of our parishioners and the surrounding community, but we're also committed to the social and educational and health development of our members of community as well. So we think that by establishing a one-shop-stop type of model at the church, it gives us the opportunity to reach out even more.
You want the church to do more, do great work inside the walls of the building, but it's important to do the work outside the walls of the building.
Absolutely, absolutely. Definitely, if I had it my way, we would move into a 7-day-a-week church, and that's the goal, to move in 7 days a week where if there's a need that needs to be met at the within the community, we're there to meet that need.
Where do you see needs? Where do you see where do you put the priorities when you talk about community service? What needs to be done?
I think that there are a number of issues that are out here, specifically when you think of healthcare issues that are prevalent in our community, along with educational matters, reentry programming as well for those who have been incarcerated. Their voices need to be heard, but there needs to be an established platform for them.
Do you preach on this from the pulpit?
Absolutely.
What do you say? Give me an idea of what you tell the parishioners when they're at there. How do you tie it all together with the spiritual side and using Scripture?
I think that there is a social element that is a major thrust behind my preaching in really understanding and staying attuned to the concerns of the parishioners, where we're not focusing on the pie in the sky theology, but we are attuned to their issues. We understand their everyday struggles, and I think those things need to be at the forefront of my message.
Certainly, the church has been in America has been at the center of many movements. I mean, certainly the old civil rights movement, it came out of the church. It came out of spiritual institutions. Do you see that as still happening here in the beginning years of the 21st century?
Absolutely. There is a relevancy in the message that some of the same issues that were in existence 30, 40 years ago may be more subtle, but the issues still remain. And so I think that for the church to be the voice of the community, it's been that for a number of years, and it needs to continue on in that vein, because I see it as a hospital where people are hurting. The church is a hospital, and so you need to speak to the issues that many are confronted with on a daily basis.
What do you tell people when you go outside the churches, outside St. Paul African Methodist Episcopal Church? What do you tell the folks in the community? What do you tell them?
I think that our main objective is to show people a heightened level of consciousness and spirituality. More so, professing it from the pulpit is fine, but we have to demonstrate it in our actions, and so that's something that we stress on a frequent basis at St. Paul, showing the people our level of commitment through spirituality and meeting their needs.
We're going to continue talking with you for a couple of minutes or so, but I want to put a phone number on the screen where you can get more information about St. Paul AME Church, and that is 216-941-6767. I'm assuming this is the phone number to the church, right?
Absolutely.
941-6767. And St. Paul AME Church, African Methodist Episcopal Church, is located at West 130th Street and Brookside Boulevard.
Yes.
What are you finding when you go in? What goes through your mind as you prepare for a sermon? What goes through your mind?
It's interesting that you say that, because as soon as I complete one on Sunday, that same day I'm thinking about the next week.
Thinking about what you can say.
Right. And so a lot of what I pay attention to comes through the actual music that our young people are listening to, many of the issues that are raised on the local news stations, also through the newspaper. So
that's that community outreach part again.
Absolutely.
People dealing with the everyday events.
Absolutely.
And you're trying to help them get over these events.
Absolutely. I have to be aware of that.
And certainly there's a strong spiritual component when the church goes out to do these kinds of things.
Yes.
Well, we wish you well, and tell everybody at St. Paul African Methodist Episcopal Church we said hello.
Well, thank you so much, and I'll be sure to do that.
God's blessing on you too.
And with you too.
Reverend Shane K. Floyd. He's the pastor of St. Paul AME Church. Once again, it's located at West 130th Street and Brookside Boulevard. The phone number there is 941-6767. One of the many churches in Northeast Ohio with a strong community outreach. And thank you for what you do.
Thank you for having me.
Doing the Lord's work outside the church building.
Absolutely.
That's what has to happen.
Outside the walls.
I feel a sermon coming on myself. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, good to have you on the broadcast.
I'm
going to take a break right now. We'll be right back with more from Marsha Maccabee of the Urban League. But first, these words especially for you. You're in touch with Kaleidoscope today, and good to have you with us. The Urban League of Greater Cleveland's president and CEO, Marsha Maccabee, is here, always with something interesting to say. Hello, Marsha.
Hello, Leon. How are you today?
I'm okay.
Good.
I'm okay.
You know, here at the Urban League, we always want to try to bring interesting information to our viewing audience, and especially when there are things that they can take advantage of that are helpful to them. So today we want to talk again about our prescription savings card that comes out of the National Urban League. It's interesting. We've had a couple of phone calls come in recently from people who have been using this prescription drug card, and they've been telling us that they've been saving 30 and in some cases up to 40% on their prescription drugs. Now, you use this card when you do not have insurance or you have a particular prescription that is not covered under your insurance.
And how can people get this card?
People can get this multiple ways. They can contact the Urban League, and of course I know we have our number that will be showing, 622-0999. And in addition, they can go right onto the National Urban League's website, and they can access that also by going to the Urban League of Greater Cleveland's website. So rather than giving two website addresses and confusing things, they can get it directly from us.
So you can save money on brand name drugs and generic drugs and when you go to the pharmacy.
Absolutely. And there are a number of pharmacies that are included. Your CVS's, your Walgreens, your Giant Eagles, all of those pharmacies that are, you know, pretty regular ones that we visit.
I got about 15 seconds remaining. What kind of money are we talking about saving?
We're talking about anywhere from 10 to upwards of 35% on a prescription.
You're putting money in our pocket by coming here talking about these kinds of things.
That's right.
We got to buy these products, so we might as well get a savings.
That's right.
622-9999. More information. That's going to do it. We'll say so long.
Kaleidoscope, a weekly public affairs program brought to you in partnership with the Urban League of Greater Cleveland, Kaleidoscope Magazine, and News Channel 5.